Welcome back to the studio. I'm Maria. Today we're going to learn about the French artist Elisabeth Louise Vigee-le Brun. She was born in 1755 in Paris, France, and she lived to be 86, so she had a very, very long, extensive career. She was active from the late 18th century through the early part of the 19th century. She's most famous for having been the favored painter of Marie Antoinette. Unfortunately, when the French Revolution broke out, Elizabeth and her daughter Julie had to flee France, and she was exiled for about 12 years before returning to Paris when it was safe again. But along the way, she painted royalty and the aristocracy from Italy and France and Russia before returning to Paris. The thing that I love about Elizabeth's paintings of people is she really seems to draw out their humanity, their joy, and their compassion. She paints them with such love. And so what we're going to do in our drawings in the classroom is we are going to select maybe a photo of a loved one, and we're going to work that up into a pastel painting. So let's get started. To get started on our project, you want to select a photograph of a loved one or a group of loved ones, like you see here, me with my mom and my brother. And then you're going to redraw that portrait onto some kind of toned paper. And we'll have a variety of toned papers available in the classroom. But before you start applying the chalk pastel to your portrait painting, you want to practice with some techniques. And here I've created a worksheet for us in the classroom to use. You're going to put your name and period number there, and then just follow the instructions for the various boxes here. In the classroom, we'll be using this variety of chalk pastel, but there are many options to choose from at home. This is a box of pastels I've had since I was a little girl, and my grandfather gave these to me, so they haven't gotten too much use, some more than others, but they're a special pastel of mine. Other varieties of pastel come in pencil form. I'm not a big fan of these. They crumble easily and you have to sharpen them in a pencil sharpener, but this is also acceptable for your pastel painting. In the first two boxes, it says layer and blend 2 warm colors in the 2 boxes below, and layer and blend 2 cool colors in the 2 boxes below. So what I want you to do is get some practice in layering colors. It's very boring if you're doing grass, and that's all we see. So what I'm asking you to do here is get a little practice in with maybe blending, mark making, and see what kinds of marks you can get, what kinds of techniques you can experiment with. And also we have a variety of tools available to us. We have the tortillons, of course, and we also have tissue paper, or Q-tips will work just as easily. And see what happens when you use a variety of blending materials to blend those colors you've just put down. Now, of course, you have dust that piles up. And in the classroom, there are many people, including myself, with allergies. Never, ever, ever blow on the dust. It just sends it into the air and sends people into sneezing fits. Also, don't ever wipe it. You see what that's going to do? It's going to smear it across my page. Always just gently dump it off on the table, and then we can wipe that up later with a wet paper towel or a washcloth. So continue working on this practice sheet, and when you're confident in what you're doing, then start working on your pastel portrait. As in painting with oil paints or acrylics or watercolors, I like to start with the background first. It's a nice way to ease into the medium, to get a confident feel for what you're doing, and then work your way forward in the painting, doing the main objects and details lastly. By the time you work your way forward in a painting and you get to the main subject, you've already built some skills up, you're a little more confident, and you're less likely to quote unquote mess up. So I'm going to start with my sky. I know from my picture I like to print one out in black and white so I can see the strong contrasts more easily. I do recommend that, but I know from being there it was a very gray, overcast day. So we're going to start with the gray sky, work our way forward into the mountains and the hills and the shrubbery around us, and then finish up with the faces. Capturing flesh tones is going to be a challenge for many of you, and there are so many different varieties of skin colors and skin tones, and really and truly you just have to find your own way through. I can show you some of my layering techniques, but understand too that your pastel drawing is not going to look exactly like this. This is a photograph. There are fine lines and all kinds of details that you just can't get from the medium that we are working with right now. So don't set yourself up for failure by trying to make it look as perfect as the picture. It won't. So once you give yourself up to that, you can let loose and have some fun with the chalk pastel and create a beautiful interpretation of the image that's before you. She kind of bridged the and so her career kind of bridges that. So her career bridges two